Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Audience Product Experts Academy. We'll just give a couple of seconds before we kick off for everyone to join. So for those of you who were maybe not attending the last session, I am Alessia. I organize this series of live stream on audience, and I'm really happy to meet you virtually again today. I would really like to thank you for attending last time. We had a lot of people that filled in our attendance form. You were really engaged during the session. You gave us a lot of questions. You gave us a lot of positive comments. So really, thank you. It's a pleasure for us to see such a high engagement and level of excitement for this Audience Academy. Today with me, it's Miguel. You know that every time we change speaker, so I'm always gonna be there. Don't worry. I'm sorry for you, but like every time I have a new person joining the Hangout, and today is Miguel. I'm working with him for many months now. It's not the first Hangout we delivered together. So if you want to say a couple of words about yourself.
So just brief introduction about myself. I'm originally Portuguese, so hello to everyone that's connecting from Portugal. I work mostly with the South African market, so special hello to everyone in the South in the good weather. I've been a product expert for almost a year now. That's how I started working with Alessia. I work now mostly with direct clients, but I've been working a lot with agencies as well in my experience at Google. And I'm really looking forward for this workshop.
Yeah, and we always talk about the weather because we are both based in Dublin and it's raining 90% of the time. So now as well.
It's raining.
Well, but it's really cloudy. So you will always hear us talking about the weather. Anyway, so last week, survey, we just want to recap the two main takeaways of the survey. So we asked you which of the following Google Audience solution allows you to reach new users, remarketing customer match of similar audiences, and the answer is similar audiences. We're gonna go in depth today with similar audiences. Miguel is gonna explain us everything later. And audience solutions allow you to reach the right user at the right moment, achieve higher conversions rate, and invest in a cost-efficient way. So true. The three of them were true. So the right answer was all of the above. Now, just a quick reminder about the attendance rule. To receive your digital certificate, you need to attend all the 7 sessions in this academy. How we know if you attended the sessions? Through the fact that you filled in or not the attendance tracking form that you receive after every live stream. Now, we close the tracking form the Monday after, meaning then the tracking form that is sent today for these sessions, you have time until next Monday to fill it in. For last week, we made an exception. So the form is still open. You can still fill it in for the past week as well. We made this exception just because last time was the first time we were delivering the live stream, first day of the academy. So maybe it wasn't clear to everyone about the attendance rules. So if you want to receive your digital certificate, make sure you are attending these 7 live streams and filling in all the 7 tracking forms that you will receive. For this week, we made an exception. The form of last week is still open. For today, we're going to close the form next Monday. It just takes 5 minutes to complete the form, so make sure you take some time. You don't need to give the right answer to receive the certificate or not. We just need you to try to give us the right answer, and then we will discuss the answer as we did today the following week. So it's really a way to learn things and to discuss them and to make sure that you attended.
And hopefully if you've been and if you've seen the whole presentation, the question should be fairly simple, as these ones are. So it's just a bit of recap of what we talked about in that lesson on that specific hangout. So the questions are quite simple as these ones.
Simple, and
most people got them right.
Yeah, exactly. Last time, really, congrats to everyone. Almost everyone really gave the right answers. So thank you again for those who took time to fill the survey. In this session, so I explained you last time that it's important that you, but also your clients, so the accounts that you're managing, understand how we build our audience solutions, because you need to trust them, and you cannot trust the audience solutions if you don't know how they work, how we build our audience solutions. So we're gonna go in depth today on this topic. Then we're just gonna recap on remarketing best practices. I'm going to show you a couple of tools on analytics for remarketing, and then Miguel is going to conclude this live stream with explanation on similar audiences. You can, again, submit your questions on the right of your screen, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can at the end of this session. So how do audience algorithms work? So you remember last time that we talked about audiences as a way to re-engage with your current users using your own data, for example, customer match or your remarketing lists, but also to acquire new users. So Aurora last time walked you through all the different audience solutions that we have. We talked about, for example, in market audience, which is an audience solution that gives you a bunch of cookies, a bunch of users that are recently, so now in these hours, about to buy something. Or we talked also about affinity audiences, so those users that are, for example, really interested into something like politics, fashion, and so on. But how does Google create an in-market audience? How can machine learning say that that cookie, that person is about to buy something? Which are the signals that are taken into account? It's really important that you know them, because this way you can trust our audience solutions and also explain them to your clients. So we said that it's really important to build an audience strategy, to collect your audience signals, and then to segment. So for example, you will want to collect your data using your analytics account, using our audience solutions, and then segment them. You will want, for example, to say we are targeting users that are really interested into buying our products. We want to reach to those users who are not familiar with our brand yet. We want to re-engage with users that have already visited our product pages. So you really need to collect the data, find the audiences, and segment them according to your objectives and needs. We're going to go in depth on how you can reach your objectives and how you can measure them during the measurement live stream. So keep tuned, but this is really important. So what do we mean by collecting those user signals? Those audience signals? What it means that we are collecting audience signals? It means that we know who our current or future customers are. So for example, their sex or age. We talked about demographic audiences last time, where they're browsing from, if they're using desktop or mobile, a combination of those, and what they want. Really important. Someone who, I don't know, is about to buy a new house, for example, so in market for buying a new house, could be at the same time really interested into politics or economics as well, right? So what do our users want? Are we only targeting their interests that are really, really close to our business? Or we can maybe expand to other kind of interests that are anyway close to the passions of the users that can be our future clients or are our current customers. So what do our users want and who they are? So trust in our Google Audience solutions, how do they work? Really important, we mentioned a lot in market, we mentioned a lot affinities, we mentioned similar audiences. So refined audiences are based on Google data. And Google uses powerful signals derived from the huge amount of data that we have to identify those users with qualified interest in your product or brand, or anyway closer, right, to what you offer, or like the kind of interest that the person that are interested in your brand have across the whole purchase funnel. That could be making your clients aware of your brand, or making our client considering to buy one of your products, or making your clients that already, for example, purchased from your website in the past, purchase something else, or purchase again that items that they purchased in the past. All these things that you see in the slide are part of the algorithm that Google uses to create audiences solutions, for example, like in market or affinity. And we're going to go in depth with all of them. So repeated patterns of behavior, it's really important. Let's say that, for example, I am sending today to Mickey a link to, I don't know, website on which you can buy rugby tickets. So rugby is a really, really important thing in Ireland. So let's say I'm really passionate about rugby and I would like Mickey to come to a rugby match with me. So I send him the link. But actually, he doesn't like rugby at all. So he checks the link. It's a link where he can buy, if he wants, a ticket for a rugby match, but then he decided not to buy it because he doesn't like rugby at all.
It's true.
I'm not sure you like rugby or not. It's just an example. Okay, I like football, but it's fine.
Football is better.
So,
yeah. Sorry to all the South Africans.
I know, like we are from Southern Europe, so football is a huge thing. Anyway, maybe it was the wrong example, but let's continue with rugby. So if we place Mickey in an audience of people that are about to buy a rugby match ticket, we make a mistake. It's true that he visited a page in which he could have bought a rugby ticket, but actually it's not a kind of page that he visited a lot. He never, for example, checked other websites to compare the price of that tickets. He never purchased a ticket in the past. He's not actively searching now for or visiting now pages that talk about rugby and how to buy a ticket for a rugby match. So really, really important. Before putting someone into an audience, we need repeated patterns of behavior. We need, for example, that person to check a website that talks about rugby and in which you can buy a rugby ticket, place maybe that rugby ticket in the cart, going to different kind of websites to compare the price and so on. So really, really important. If we were putting everyone who visited a rugby page in which you can buy rugby tickets in an in-market audience, we will make a mistake, right? Maybe it's not true that everyone who visits a rugby page wants to buy a ticket for a rugby match. So really, really important. We need to have repeated patterns of behavior to classify someone as in market for something or in affinity for something. So let's say that, for example, I am troubleshooting a lot of my clients' website and I'm visiting them. It doesn't mean that I'm actually interested in what they offer. Right? So I might not be in affinity with politics if I visited just once a website that talks about politics. So we really need repeated patterns of behavior. So this is the first element that we can take into account in our algorithms. Really, really important key takeaway. Please try to remember this also for your clients. It's going to be really important to understand the clear differentiation among interest and intent. So, for example, let's say that I am really, really passionate about Ferraris or about luxury, but I can't afford it. If I am visiting many, many times websites that talk about Ferraris and, I don't know, like luxury items and luxury cars and Ferraris and all this stuff, it means that I am really passionate. So I have repeated patterns of behaviors that show a passion towards Ferrari or toward luxury. But that it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to purchase a Ferrari. In my case,
you can buy a Ferrari.
Or that I can. In my case, I can't afford it, but you know, there might be, not yet. There might be someone that is actually super passionate about Ferrari, but also is thinking about purchasing one. So maybe it starts to check where you can buy a Ferrari, comparing prices of different models, trying to ask for information to sellers on prices, where to buy it, and so on. So clear differentiation among intent versus interest. I can be someone who is really interested into fashion, for example, but it's not necessary about to buy a new pair of shoes. So our algorithms are able to tell you if someone is passionate about something. So we could say an affinity audience, affinity in fashion or luxury cars or politics or whatever. Or if someone is in market for something. So it's clearly showing through the behavior on the web, the intent to buy something or to do a given action. So really, really, really important differentiation among the two. And we're able to do that through our audiences solution. Think, for example, again, about the difference among affinity audiences and in-market audiences.
And here, I think this is a perfect example to actually see this. And I'm sure I'm the case. I have a lot of interest. I really like cars. I go read magazines, blogs, and all that off a lot of the times, but I never go into the specific pages of the websites that sell the cars because I live 2 minutes away from the office, so I don't need a car.
You care about the environment.
And I care about the environment, so I could buy a Tesla car, but still, it's not. I'm not planning, so I'm not going to the high intent pages. The high intent pages would be if I then went, like I said, to the dealership pages, to the customization pages where you can select all the extras, the nitty-gritty stuff, and then you have the price. So the system really knows, and you can feel confident about sharing this information to your clients because the system really knows intent and interests. So you can feel really confident about sharing this example with all of your clients.
And this is important because if you want to invest on someone who is through an in-market audience who is about to buy a new pair of shoes, you have the tool to do that. This is the market audience. You're not just targeting someone who is interested into shoes, right? So really important to increase the chances of conversion. Again, how we refine this algorithm, difference among interest and intent, and we also look at the purchase cycle. So our consumers could research for a new item, then they might maybe see the product on a website and then visit other websites, as we said, check price comparison tools frequently and actively, like in the past hours, going to look for this kind of information. So we really go into looking also at the purchase cycle to refine our audiences and have really high chances that we're really putting in an in-market audience someone who is interested in to buy something, and in an affinity audience someone who is just interested into the topic. Personalized algorithm, which is really important as well. So if there are French, maybe agencies here, they will know these two twins. So what we mean by personalized algorithms, we can say that someone like me, for example, so a woman close to her 30s, which is browsing on a website that talk about fashion, might not be as interested in fashion as someone else who is my same age and also browsing websites that talk about fashion and also maybe browsing them from my same city. So what's important is that we don't stop at the first impression. Algorithms are personalized. It means that, for example, this guy on the left, which looks really, really similar to the guy on the right, they're both like spending some time on the web looking and browsing fashion websites. But the guy on the left browses fashion website for 30 minutes out of 1 hour a day spent on the web. The other also stays 30 minutes, but out of 6 hours on the web. So they're both the same age, they can be really similar, they spend the same amount of time browsing fashion websites, but the percentage of time that they spend on browsing fashion website is completely different. So one of the two, the one on the left, is more likely to be a fashion enthusiast than the other. So again, personalized algorithms, really important. We don't stop at the first impression. We just don't analyze the time that you spend on the website on a given category of websites. We also check how much time out of the total, for example, you are spending. So how interested really you are into a topic or into a given product and so on. So again, this is one of those signals that is taken into account to refine our audience solutions. Real time, really important. So we mentioned this. This is another of thing that we take into account when we look at our algorithms, when we refine our algorithms. It's really important that if you want to target someone who is about to buy a new pair of shoes, that person is about to buy a new pair of shoes really recently. If it was about to buy a new pair of shoes 3 months ago, it's already too late. So our audience solutions are refreshed in real time. And if the cookie is in market for something, it gets added to the in-market audience just straight away. And when it's no more in market, it's removed. So it's really important that you take into account the fact that audience solutions are really recent. And this allows you to reach higher volumes of conversions and target better your users because the behaviors that we're looking at are recent and updated real time. And really, really important thing, audience solutions are free. You won't pay for using them. So really important, I guess, again, to make cost-savvy investments.
Yeah, this is a question I actually got a lot of times is, okay, how much do I have to pay? How much do I have to invest to have actually a campaign running with this? And the truth is there's no limit. You can invest as much and as little as you can or as you should for your objectives. So this is really, really good. So I would definitely try to use this as a leverage to start out, maybe ask for a small budget to try out, because then you'll see the performance and you see how well it actually looks. And then it's actually a good way to prove the value for the user and for the client. Also, it's important to consider that a lot of the times there's the clicks on the display network are actually cheaper than the clicks on a search network, especially in some verticals. So this is actually a good opportunity to get some more users, some more qualified users at a very low cost. So this is a really good opportunity to expand past search.
And it's in your account, right? So if we're talking about your remarketing users, of course, you need a remarketing tag. If we're talking about affinity audiences or remarkets, these are Google data in your account. So really, it's really simple also to set up a campaign. We will have a session on a display strategy, so how to structure your display strategy. So we won't go in depth, but really try to use audiences solutions and to optimize your audience solution. So we wanted just to introduce you this report, which has been there for a while, but not everyone knows about it. And it's called Audience Insights Report in AdWords. So if you're using remarketing lists, in your Audiences tab on the left, you will access your remarketing lists and just clicking on a list, for example, the all users list, you can have, as you see here, all the insights on that audience. So you click on the all users list and you can see which kind of interest or who are the people that are on that remarketing lists. For example, you can see what's the average age of the people on your remarketing lists. What's their interests, what are their intents, so in which kind of in-market audience they can be placed, in which kind of affinity audiences they can be placed, and so on. And you can benchmark also this kind of information to the country you're based in. Why this is important? Don't stop at the first thing that you can do with this report. The first thing that you can do with this report is, of course, to analyze your current audience, because we are starting from a remarketing list, so people that are familiar with your website, that you are tracking through your remarketing code or analytics remarketing. But the second thing that you can do is to look at the passions of your users, through, for example, analyzing their interest in this case, for example, in this example, we can say that people are really interested into food or becoming chefs. Analyze what they're in market for, to then expand to new users. This is important. So let's say, for example, that you have a real estate company, that you are creating a campaign for them, and they sell really high value houses. you might expect, for example, that the average age of these people that are visiting the website is pretty high, because maybe young people are not really willing to invest in really expensive houses. But then you could also see that, I don't know, maybe those people are really interested into playing golf or sailing. So what you could do is to start also a new campaign or a new ad group in which you are targeting affinity segments for those people that like outdoor sports, for example. So it's true that you are selling houses, you are a real estate company, but you shouldn't just stop with your display strategy to those websites that talk about houses. You could capture the attention of those users also on websites that talk about something which is completely different, that looks like completely disconnected from your business, but actually it's something that your potential users are really, really interested into. How do you know that? Analyzing your current audience. And you can see that people in your current audience are really, really interested into outdoor sports, even if they have visited your website, which is just a real estate website. So it's really important to move and shift away from just audiences as remarketing, like we said last time, as audience also as a way to expand to new users pre-qualified for you. And the Audience Insight Report helps you to analyze your current audience, but also give you many ideas on how you can expand to new users by targeting those interest and affinity audiences close to those users that are already visiting your website. I know this looks kind of tricky, so please, if you have any questions, just make sure you're writing it down, and we'll make sure we are answering all your questions. And if not, I'll make sure that I put some notes on the slides.
I always look at this part of the AdWords platform as basically free market research. So you know who is going to the website. If you have all converters list, you know who is buying from the website. You can actually see, okay, so if I see that 30% of in this case, someone that is buying is in market for hotels, and if I'm trying to sell to these people, maybe it makes sense that I actually have a campaign dedicated for someone in market for hotels. So just look at this as free market research, and you don't even have to pay a panel to a research company because you have it in your account.
So remarketing, Mick is gonna walk you through this session. What we wanted really you to achieve and reach from this part is to have a few selling points that you know, that you're aware of, and that you can discuss also with your clients when explaining why a remarketing strategy is important. I give you this so you can manage the presentation.
So a lot of times people ask, why do I want to have a remarketing campaign? They've been on my website and they haven't bought what I wanted. Should I actually go after these people or not? And that's a valid question, but when we look at the data, this is what we see. So 96% of people visiting 96% of people visiting a website leave without converting. And actually think about the last time you bought something online. So for example, I actually bought a hotel room stay 2 days ago. And the first time I went to the platform where I could check all over the hotels available. I checked the ones that looked interesting, and then I left. I wasn't prepared to buy. It was too early. I hadn't even bought the ticket to go there. So I was not sure, and I didn't want to commit 100 euros to a hotel stay at that specific point in time. But at least I've done my research. And another statistic that's really important, and you should definitely take note of this and use it when you have a remarketing conversation with one of your clients, is that 70% of people abandon their shopping cart without completing the purchase. Again, goes back to what we had on the previous slide. So it's a multiple stage process. So you have more than one engagement with a brand before you buy something. It's normal. We procrastinate. We are human beings. We always procrastinate. Maybe we buy it later. My wallet is in another place. I don't have my credit card here. I'll do it later. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you don't. And this is the importance of remarketing. It's keeping top of mind, that you can actually, when it's time to buy, you should go to this place. So you keep that brand top of mind for that specific action. The third interesting fact that we have here is that 49% of consumers visit 2 to 3 stores, 2 to 3 sites before converting. So this is really, really interesting. So the great thing about internet is that it made everything accessible to us. We have access to everything. So we actually browse around a lot. I go to 10 different websites before I actually convert. And it's normal. It's just, if I have free time, I'll go look, make sure I have a deal, make sure I like the brand, I trust the brand. Is it a good brand that I've seen before? Is it a brand that I would feel safe buying online, for example? It's in some countries, it's a really big issue. So this is really important. These are the things that go through the user's mind through this time. So it's important, again, to be top of mind, to show that the brand is there. We're always happy to have you back. And when the time comes, they'll see that banner, that image ad, and they'll be happy to go in and actually buy.
And what is important is also that when you're creating this remarketing strategy and you're creating, for example, your banners or using the tools that we have to create them automatically, those banners kind of also recall the graphic, the colors of your website, so that the user just reminds, okay, I've been there, that's the product I wanted. So really important that you follow the users and you implement the right strategy, because otherwise, with all this amount of kind of research and visiting website that every one of us does before purchasing something, the user, the potential client will just get lost and just not buy from your website.
Exactly. And also what you could have and should have is have a different ad copy. So for example, if last time I went through an ad because the product looks so good and the price looks so good, maybe now remind me, oh, by the way, it's free shipping. Oh, by the way, you can have it in 3 days in your house. So it's changing a bit of the unique selling proposition. It's also good because not only you remind me that you're there, but also you remind me that I should do it now because I have this promotion, or I have this great thing where I can actually have free shipping, or I'll get it tomorrow, so I should be able to use it before I go out this weekend, something like that. So it's really important to also have different ad copies. Okay, so we've talked a bit about this, but I always like to imagine it as, well, imagine it's yourself going through this journey. How does remarketing actually work? So when you go into a website, you read a cookie. That's the cookie right there. Cookie is basically a storage unit. It's beyond it's beyond our scope, so you don't really need to go into that. Basically, you have a cookie on the browser, and then you get added to that list. Then once you leave, the cookie stays there. So it means you'll be able to reach them across search and GDN with the banners and image ads, and also with text ads. For example, you'll be able to tailor your bids to make sure that if you want a returning user to come in again, if they haven't bought, you can actually up your bids to make sure you're number one. And we'll be covering this in another lesson as well, just about remarketing
RLSI session, but it's important to mention it as well here.
Exactly. So this is really, really interesting. Again, different ad copies really, really help. So what are the biggest challenges that usually marketers face? They want to reach the right people with the right message. They want to bid to value. So that means that they want to bid just the right amount. They don't want to overbid, they don't want to underbid, because they don't want to miss out on that customer. But on the other hand, they don't want to pay too much to get that customer. It makes all the sense. And then it's all about managing the data. So here you can look, for example, reach. You want to make sure you have the best message for each individual person. So you actually know if they came, for example, through a campaign that was for buying boots and they went on the black boots ad group. You want to tailor a message according to that, and you want to tailor the banners according to that. Then you want to tailor the bids. How efficient am I bidding to these people? And you can actually look on the platform. What is the cost per conversion? Compare, taking a look at several attribution models, and see what's the value that you usually get from someone in a remarketing list, which is usually very high because people that want to return, they actively took the choice of coming back to the website, you want to make sure that you have the bids set accordingly. And then you also get to leverage on the data from the users that have been on the website. You get to leverage on the fact that they've been to the website, they know, and all of those insights that you gather will help you manage all of these issues. So, what are the checklist to have an efficient remarketing campaign? So first, obviously, you need to tag your entire website and your mobile site. So you want to make sure you cover all bases. This can also be done sometimes through analytics. Most of the times you can do it through analytics as well, which is also very important to have. And I assume most people nowadays have. It's important to cover it either through analytics or through the remarketing tab on the tag on the platform. It's really easy to implement. Make sure you have on a place, for example, the header that is the same across the whole page, and it's very easy to have it rolled out. Then you should segment your remarketing audiences. So someone that spent 10 minutes on my page and went all the way up to the purchase to the end of the purchase funnel but didn't buy is much more valuable than someone that went to the website, stayed 1 minute and left. So create lists, and we'll cover a bit this just now. Make sure you target all regions and languages. So if they want to come back, it's because it makes sense for them. No one is going to click on a website if it doesn't make sense for them. So this way you make sure you have all your bases covered in terms of reaching the right user.
And if I'm visiting a website, for example, when I'm on holiday,
exactly,
and I still didn't purchase, and then I come back, if that remarketing campaign was just targeted to the country in which I was on holiday, I wouldn't be able to see it anymore when I come back home, right? So this is also why it's important to target our regions. If someone has already been on your website, it's because it's interested in the website itself. So it doesn't matter where it goes next, right? So it's important.
Exactly. And when it comes to frequency capping, a lot of people ask me, oh, what's the right number? The right number depends. The answer is always going to be depends, because each industry is different. Each website converts in a different way. So leave it to the algorithm, leave it to machine learning, because it really, really works very well. You have one of the world's smartest engineers working on these tools. So it's really, really interesting to see that once you move it to automation, once you move it to machine learning, the results actually improve quite a bit. Because sometimes in some websites, 5 times is a good frequency cap, 2 times is another one, 200 might be on the other one. It really depends. Leave it to the system, because the system will give you the best number, because it's structured in a way to maximize the number of conversions. And then another good insight is to expand. So combine remarketing campaigns with campaigns for new users acquisition to increase the number of new users in your current list. So you have, and again, we're going to cover this a bit further. We have other lists that populate as soon as you have one list. For example, similar audiences, which pre-qualify already some of the visitors to the website. You can also have the remarketing list running on a display campaign, just doing a bid modifier, for example. So if someone is in market for cars and they've been to my website, I want to bid more than just someone that has been in market for cars. So you can actually do a layer over just in market to tailor the bids for those people.
The more you use audience solutions, the more new clients come into your website will not be there by mistake, but just because they're really interested. Mm-hmm. And this will have a positive impact on your remarketing lists as well, and your remarketing campaigns, because you will do remarketing on people that you have acquired because they were interested in what you offer. So efficiency plus efficiency on really large scale.
So now going a bit into the list segmentation. So we already covered one of the lists, all visitors. Very easy. You should always have all visitors. You should always use it as part of the targeting. But then you want to tailor a bit more. So for example, you want to have a category page visitor. So someone that went into the boots section should see ads for boots, not ads for dancing shoes, for example, if we also sell those.
And dynamic remarketing can help you do this, and we'll have a session on dynamic remarketing next time.
We're going to have a nice session on dynamic remarketing. This is really, really important because this is the best part of the audience solutions, in my opinion, because it's amazing. The fact that you can actually tailor the message with the product that we saw, then it's really, 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 really powerful. Then, for example, we have cart abandoners, someone that went all the way into adding something to the cart. They went to the last page and then they just didn't buy. Again, it could be an infinite amount of reasons that they didn't buy. Maybe they don't want it, but also maybe they forgot their wallet, they don't have the credit card, they didn't have time because they were late for a meeting. And they're really interested. They went all the way to adding the specific product into the cart. So it's really, really valuable, really valuable customer, potential customer. So we want to tailor a specific list for those, and that's one of the lists that we want to target more aggressively because we know that's where the most value lies. Finally, we have past converters. So for example, if I've bought the new Pixel phone, maybe, and I just bought it now online, maybe I want to buy a cover for my phone because it makes sense. It's a very expensive phone. It's a good phone. I want to protect it. It's my baby. I don't want it to get scratched. So a few hours later, it makes sense for me to see an ad. Hey, by the way, do you want a cover? And I'm like, actually, I need one. Good thing I saw this because I hadn't thought of that. So I really need a cover to protect it. That being said, it's important to not over-segment. So if you don't have a lot of traffic into the website, you don't want to over-segment because then you miss a lot of the data that we provide. If the lists are too small, we actually don't serve the lists on the display network because we want to make sure we protect always the privacy of the user. So it's important to segment, but do not over-segment. And if you have a website that maybe has 300 visits per month, maybe you'll only be able to have an all visitors list, and you won't be able to have all of these lists because you don't have enough traffic. So this is what I call the onion strategy, and it's one of my favorite strategies for remarketing. So basically, you want to have some lists and you want to have layers in terms of duration. So for example, you can have a campaign for people that in the past 7 days have been on my website. And these are the most valuable on average because these are the ones that have been more recently to the page, that are engaged more recently. So the intent is a lot fresher. So here we want to have an ad group, for example, for visitors, one for GA smart lists, and one for cart abandoners. This is maybe we're bidding here, we're bidding 10. Then we have the second campaign. The second campaign is for someone that have been on my website, not in last week, but have been in under 30 days. So these is still very valuable information. These are still very valuable potential customers. So again, we have 3 ad groups with 3 lists. Maybe here, historically, looking at performance, we want to bid 7, so slightly less than what we had for the first campaign. And then the 30 plus, it's again another campaign with 3 ad groups that we want to tailor the bids perhaps a bit lower if performance says so. Always look at the CPA, but if performance says so, maybe we want to bid a bit lower because we'll also have quite a few conversions coming from this. It's important that businesses have different cycles. So for example, if I'm buying a car, no way I'm going to buy a car in 7 days. Or if I'm buying a house, no way I'm buying a house in 7 days from research to actually buying. It's going to take me maybe 2 months of research, making sure I have the right car, making sure I have the right house, then I'm okay with buying. So this layer system works very well, but expand it and shrink it according to your business model. So if you're selling phone covers, this looks like a perfect ideal setting, but if you're selling something of high value, it's going to be a bit more, it has to be the list must be a bit larger, maybe 14 days, 14 days to 2 months, 2 months to plus. So as we already mentioned in a previous session, I believe we have a lot of devices. You have your phone, you have your computer, you have your work computer, you have your desktop at home, and you have a lot of different, you have your tablet, you have a lot of different devices. Because you sign in and you have your Gmail account on all of them, and you actually have all of these devices sign into the network, we actually are able to serve cross-device remarketing. So maybe you saw something on your phone and you want to buy it later on because on your phone you're running and you just saw it. You want to have a reminder popping up on the screen on the computer when you're ready to buy, and you have your credit card on your hand. So it's really important to take advantage of this as well, because 90% of people switch between screens before they actually complete the task. Again, very important stat to share with your customers. Point. Yeah, an important selling point. The fact that you're able to reach cross-device, because not a lot of companies can actually do this because of how the amount of signed-in users that Google has. This is just an example of a potential journey. You have you wake up and you check your phone, then you have your laptop for work, and then you have your tablet when you're reading the newspaper later on the day.
So if we were like not doing cross-device, if you are checking something from your corporate laptop and you're signed into your Google account, but then you go to your phone and you're still signed and there is no cross-device, you would be a new user, not a returning user. While through cross-device, if you visit it, doesn't matter which is the device you visited from, if you are signed in, you will still be considered as a returning user. So really, really important, because then your remarketing campaign or new acquisitions, new client acquisition campaign will be really targeted to really returning users or really new users.
Yeah, this is really important. Some people have for example, startup usually have very aggressive new users, new clients targets of growth. And this is a good way of making sure that, okay, new users are new users, returning users are returning users, and we close the loop. And the fact that it's all within the ecosystem, within the Google ecosystem, we can actually track all of that, all of those insights. So now to talk a bit about analytics, which is always fun, I'll pass the ball to Alessia.
We'll go quickly through these. We will share the presentations with you, but I really want to make sure that we have at least 5 minutes at the end to cover your questions. So just to give you a few hints. So you know that analytics gives you an easy remarketing implementation, just because you don't need to tag again your website. If you already have analytics, you already have an analytics account and analytics code on the website. In 2 clicks, you can implement remarketing. And the advantage is that compared to AdWords, you have a lot of more possibilities to segment your audience and target the right users. You can target according to the location, you can target according to the device. So really important, you can exploit all the different data that analytics give you to create new audiences. It's an instant activation, really. If your website is tagged, if you have an analytics account and the analytics account is linked to your AdWords account, you're probably all familiar with this. But again, we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page before we go on more advanced topic in the future in this academy. So you can just log into the analytics account in the audience tab. In this column, you will just click on audience, create a remarketing list, select the AdWords account you want to import the remarketing list in, and the remarketing list in like a couple of minutes will be there in your AdWords account, and it will start collecting cookies. So again, really important, especially for those small clients that don't have much time to manage the tagging of their websites. If they already have analytics, you can just do remarketing with analytics and it's fine. A really cool thing is the Analytics Solutions Gallery. I'm not sure you're familiar about this. This is an external tool that you can use to import into your analytics account reports or remarketing lists that have been created by other users. Of course, the data won't be imported, but the settings will. So if you, we will share the presentation with you. You will just be able to click on the Analytics Solutions Gallery. I will try to do the demonstration with you. And you can, for example, it's going to be a bit slow, but you can, for example, just type in remarketing, and you will see that you will have a remarketing package already ready for you, that you can, with a click, import to the analytics, your own analytics account. So it's you will see there are many remarketing solutions inside, many remarketing packages ready for you. With a click, you will automatically import these remarketing lists or basic setups that have been created for you.
So some of the lists could be, for example, visitors that came when the store was closed, when the physical store was closed. So you want to maybe have the different message for them. So if someone came after 5 p.m. and before 8 a.m., I want to have them in a specific list. If someone came from a specific device, from, as you can see here, then you have specific for e-commerce. They've been to X amount of pages, to X, page X, and so on.
Really, really easy. Really, you can just really type remarketing here, and here you have a bunch of lists that have been created by other users like you, and they decided to share the settings, again, not the data, but the settings with you. And you can click here on the engagement tab, core remarketing lists. You click there, and just clicking on import, you will be able to import these to the analytics account you're logged in with your Google account. So really, really easy.
Really easy. It's like a library of potential remarketing lists that you may want to use. Again, none of the data is shared, just the settings for those lists.
So smart lists, again, sometimes just less is more. So we really wanted you to give you a hint about these smart lists. So sometimes users just don't want to spend time on creating lists that are not valuable, maybe to them, or that take too much time to be created. You can use the smart list of analytics. So when you set up the list, you can just click on allow Google to manage my list. So when you're creating just analytics remarketing lists, and how it works, magic word again is the machine learning. So Google Machine Learning will create and update real-time some lists for you, which are based on those users that have more chances to convert. How does this work? For those analytics account owners that have agreed to anonymously share their data with Google, we will check what's the chance of conversion of someone based on the behavior. For example, I don't know, the time they spend on the page, how many times they come back to their website, and so on. So taking all this data as a proxy, we will create lists automatically created for you that will make those users that are on the list, we will make sure that those users that are on the list are those who are more able to convert, more willing to convert, just because they have similar behaviors to those users in other websites that have shared their data with us, that converted, really. So it's just pure machine learning. Our analytics account owners decide to share anonymously the conversion data. Based on those, as a proxy, we can create smart lists for you that are updated daily. If you combine these with automatic bidding, you have really high chances to succeed in getting a lot of conversion in a really, really easy way without even going in depth and segmenting your lists. Machine learning just does it for you.
Exactly. So now talking a bit about similar audiences. So similar audiences is a really, really powerful tool. So let's imagine we've done all of the remarketing campaigns. They've worked amazingly. And now the customer is saying, the client is saying, amazing. Now I want to grow and get even more users. And I want to sell even more. So what can you do? Then you can go for similar audiences. So similar audiences are a list of cookies that the system determines are similar to the ones that have been on your website. So you can have similar audience to all visitors, similar to all converters, similar to a lot of lists. So this is the example of the best way to grow your audience targeting with new pre-qualified users. So if someone has been on my website and bought, so they're a converter, this way we want to target people that have similar characteristics to these, but have not been on the website before. So if you're on a similar audience, you're not on the remarketing lists. This is a great way to reach new pre-qualified users, because the system determines, again, a lot of machine learning behind it, determines that they're very similar. They show the same characteristics, they show the same intents and all of that when they go online. So they're probably good for you as well.
And this is based on similarity to your remarketing lists. So you need to have remarketing lists.
Exactly. You need to have the remarketing list
and
activated.
It's automatically created. So.
It's automatically created. And it goes, if the number, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have it on the next slide, but it's 5 times larger than the list you have at the moment. So if you have 10,000, you will be able to reach 50,000 more new pre-qualified users. So when we use it in combination with remarketing, we see a 41% uplift in conversions, which is really, 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 really good. So how does this work? Again, it's all about your behavior online, what you've been browsing, if they have the same interests, if they have the same characteristics, and all of that, to make sure that everything is managed accordingly. So the lists on average are 5 times larger than your remarketing lists. We look at the very sophisticated signals to target new users efficiently. So you don't have people there just because, you have very qualified new users for your lists and for your website. These lists are automatically created. And again, there's a very big uplift in terms of conversions, which is really, really good.
So main takeaways, we have seen how Google audiences are created through really powerful signals. We have seen the Audience Insight report, really useful. We have seen how remarketing, which are the selling points for remarketing to help you win the second chance. And we have had a focus on similar audiences. We will recap a bit again during the next session at the beginning. So in the next session, before we I will just switch to this. Before we answer to a few of your questions, we will go in depth into dynamic remarketing, and then we will do a recap on search remarketing, and then in the future we will go really in depth on these topics. Make sure you fill in the survey, so the attendance tracking form, how you want to call it, that we will send to you today before next Monday, because this week we are closing the form next Monday. So we have like 4 minutes left. We will try to answer your questions, and if there are more, I will just make sure to add them to the presentation so we answer them anyway.
Okay, we have a few questions. So Charlie, how many recurrences are considered a repeated behavior? Does the number of needed recurrences depend on the industry segment?
So no, it doesn't. So like what happens is that machine learning analyzes the number, like the repeated behaviors, and when it considers it, so of course we are not engineers, we don't know exactly how the algorithm works, but when it considers it statistically significant, it like puts the cookie into the list. So if someone is repeatedly, again, searching for something, comparing prices, when we get to a confidence interval, which is sufficient to say that that person is about to buy something, for example, we will put that person into an in-market list. So we don't know exactly how many partners, how many times that person needs to visit a website and so on, but we know that the interval significant, it's really, really high. So we really want you to invest on the right client. So if we're not sure about something, if we can't be confident, we will just not put that cookie into a wrong list. 49% visit 2 or 3 website. When we use the stats with customers, will this be overall Google data or specific countries? This is overall. It's overall. I have linked a few resources at the end of these presentations that you can check. So if you want to recap on this data. But you can talk anyway with your account managers if you want insights on your verticals or on your sectors. And if there are insights on your countries as well, make sure you always have this kind of questions and relationship with your account manager that can give you more insights specifically. Are we better to use a Google AdWords remarketing tag or analytics remarketing list? Again, it's up to you. I would say that analytics gives you more ways to customize, right, the audiences. So,
and setup is usually easier, but again, it depends. What are the main differences? To be honest, at the moment, there are not that many. In the past, this used to be a bit different, but the tools have been upgraded and everything at the moment are pretty similar. So I would actually, from personal experience, I just find it easier to segment through analytics and to have everything implemented through analytics, because I don't have to retag the website and all of that. So that's my personal opinion. I'm not actually sure if there's a recommended one, because you can have, it's up to you what you find easier. So how do you automate frequency caps, from Jason? So frequency capping, once you go and you have the campaign and you have, and you go on advanced options. When you're running creating the campaign, you go on advanced options, you have frequency capping there, and there you'll have the option to automate the frequency capping. If you have any specific questions on this, feel free to contact the support center, or to contact your account manager. If you have one, just feel free to contact them directly, or the support center, and they'll be able to help you out on this specifically. We have to close, but we have a few other questions. So what I will do, I will just go through them and make sure that I answer in the presentation that we will link. So either on the single slides, or maybe adding new slides if needed. I really want to make sure that every question is answered. So just wait for the presentation to be uploaded. It should happen like tomorrow. So again, thank you very much for attending. Fill in the survey. If you want to get the certificate, you need to fill them all 7 surveys. And thanks again for attending. It's been a pleasure for us. Thank you so much. Thank you, and see you really soon. Bye.